Let's take a moment to find out how to calculate the correct document size needed for each type of output for screen, for the printing press, for an inkjet printer, and for the lab. Now, in order to change the size of a document, I will choose Image and then Image Size. Here I can reposition this, and I can also reposition the area that's being previewed at 100%. And it's being previewed at 100% so that we can accurately see what will happen when we resize our image up or down. I can also position my cursor anywhere in the image area and just click in order to navigate and preview that area. All right, on the right-hand side are the image dimensions. We can see this is an 8 by 12 inch image at 300 pixels per inch. Now, when I decide that I want to resize this image, I can do it in one of two ways. Either by resampling the image, or I can toggle this off, in which case Photoshop can only redistribute the pixels that are in the document, but it can't add to or subtract from the total pixel count. For example, if I want to change the height to 18 inches, when I do that, because it can't add more pixels, it's going to have to decrease the resolution. Or if I decrease the height down to 6 inches, well, then it can increase the resolution because it has the same total pixel count. Now, if I need to resample the image, which basically gives Photoshop the permission to add pixels or subtract pixels from the image, now we can see that if I make this 300 pixels per inch, but 6 inches, Photoshop will throw away information. And if I make it 18 inches, Photoshop will have to add information to go from a 24 meg file to a 55 meg file. If I want to control how the image is resampled, I can choose from this list of interpolation methods. So what I like about Automatic is that it selects either the preserve details if I have to add pixels to my image, or it will use bicubic sharper if I have to subtract pixels from my image. Of course, you can feel free to try out any of these other options, but for now, I'll leave it set to Automatic. So let's quickly take a look at how I would set the image size of a document for those specific output devices. If I need to resize for a specific screen size, well, then I'm going to change the units of measurement to pixels. And let's say that I knew that I had to have a height of 600 pixels, so I would just type that in. And sure enough, Photoshop is going to have to resample this down from 24 megs to just 703. Now, if I was going to the printing press, well, let's change this back to inches or whatever unit of measurement you are using, and we'll calculate how many pixels per inch we need. So let's assume that we're going to a 150 line screen, and I want 1.5 times the line screen in pixels per inch. So I would need to set the resolution here to 225. Then let's say I want to print this 18 inches wide. So we can see now that sure enough, Photoshop will have to resample up the image, adding pixels to go from what was a 24.7 meg file up to a 31.3 meg file. And if you're interested in knowing the percentage that it has to resize, we can use this downward pointing arrow and choose percent, and it will figure it out for us. All right, now let's take that inkjet or the printing to the lab scenario, and let's assume that we're going to use a resolution of 300 pixels per inch. So when I enter that in, if I want to print this 18 inches, again, it's going to have to make up information. But if I want to only print this, say 4 by 6, then Photoshop will be able to resize this down and actually throw away information. All right, let's go ahead and apply that. Photoshop is discarding the information. I'll use Command 0 just to fit on screen here, but it has actually thrown away information in the file. So at this point, I would want to be sure to save a copy of the file at the new size so that I could always return to that original document if I needed to at a later time. Now, we'll learn more about saving files in a later video. So for now, I will just close this without saving any changes. But there you have it. You can use image size to resize your photographs or your images for your specific output devices deciding whether or not to add or remove information using that resample option.